What's going on, guys, and welcome to another episode of Smash JT on YouTube. Don't know how much longer we'll be able to keep making videos because YouTube just changed their terms of service. As always, it's quite vague. YouTube will be updating their terms of service on December 10th, 2019, and while terms of service typically update every year, or sometimes even more often than that, what's going on with YouTube right now is extremely concerning. This is something that, while it doesn't have anything to do with video games per se, may directly impact my channel and every channel out there. So, without further ado, what is going on with YouTube? Well, according to their terms of service update that's taking place on December 10th, you may stop using the service at any time. Termination to suspension by YouTube for cause. YouTube may suspend or terminate your access, your Google account, or your Google account's access to all or part of the service if you materially or repeatedly breach this agreement. We are required to do so to comply with the legal requirement or court order, or we believe there's been conduct that creates or could create liability or harm to any user, other third party, YouTube, or our affiliates. We're going to stop right there and just dissect that one, because one of the overall broad concerns with this is the interpretation, how somebody may read this, and honestly, most importantly, YouTube, Google, the parent company, on the other end, that is deciding, the God of all, who is allowed to proceed and who is not, based off of the way the wind is blowing on what specific day we're talking about. There is nothing concrete about anything they discuss with the update of terms of service. And in turn, that puts every single creator in the crosshairs for being removed if Google determines what they did could be considered detrimental to a third party or someone affiliated with Google. Does this mean we can't talk about other people? Does this mean we can't talk about what's going on? Is this a form of censorship that is silencing YouTubers who are potentially critical of the platform, that makes sure that everybody is in line with what Google, YouTube wants them to be saying, so that everything is smooth in their eyes and that advertisement revenue continues to come through? Because that's how I'm looking at this. They call it bad actors, but what could be construed as somebody just speaking out about what they feel is wrong in giving their rationale for it. Something this channel constantly talks about is divisive issues, things that could be seen from multiple different angles, and depending on where you stand, which side of the fence you're on, both sides of the argument are legitimate, both hold weight, both have a reason for why they stand where they do. And in this instance, I feel like it's extremely short-sighted by YouTube to update their terms of service into something that basically states whatever we determine is how it's going to be, and oh, by the way, we can determine when we want to start terminating or suspending accounts even more so than we used to. Makes me wonder what's going on behind the scenes over at YouTube, because there are hundreds of thousands of millions and billions of content created every single second that's uploaded onto the platform. There's a lot of money that goes into housing this content, and then there's YouTube over there that supposedly still isn't making any money, even though I find that very hard to believe, but be that as it may, we'll just go with that because that's the trending thought process right now. Is Google isn't making money off of YouTube. It's losing them money constantly, and Google's the only company big enough to create a platform that allows people to upload content and still be losing money on it, because I guess the long-term plan is somehow eventually it will start making money for some unknown business reason that nobody knows about right now. Okay, that being the case, YouTube and Google losing money, bleeding money, putting everything into the resources for YouTube platform to continue going as it is, this seems like a reason for them to be able to start cutting down on the content creation, and to an even greater extent, the content creator in general. The most concerning update to this terms of service change is the line that states termination by YouTube for service changes. YouTube may terminate your access or your Google account's access to all or part of the service if YouTube believes, in its sole discretion, that provision of service to you is no longer commercially viable. So now, basically, what that is stating, as straightforward as I've ever seen YouTube say anything, is they can determine if they want to deny you the ability to upload something if they don't feel like you're worth it. Think about that for a second. YouTube, the company that started long ago as broadcast yourself. It's not about the money. It's a place for people to gather online, a public grounds for everyone to speak their mind on anything they deem plausible to put content online. It's now being told that, hey guys, sorry, we're losing so much money in the back end right now that we're going to need to start cutting back on our creations, the content creators that are out there, the videos that are being output every second, every day. And basically, what I surmise out of this is YouTube saying, if you're not good enough, if you can't hack it, if your content is boring, dry, bland, doesn't add anything to the conversation, or, as they put it, if you're a bad actor, or all of the above, any of the above, whatever they decide, they can terminate your ability to upload on the platform. And oh, by the way, this is one of those things that YouTube is the only game in town. So however they go ahead and determine who's allowed to upload and who's not, if you can't upload, you don't really have a voice online when it comes to video creation. Now, sure, there are some niche places you can go elsewhere. There are some bigger ones like Storyfire, but you need to be invited to be able to be a content creator on those platforms. So it's limited. You can go to Facebook still. You can go to some smaller locations to still upload. But YouTube, by far, is the place for people to view content. Hell, it's owned by the biggest search engine in the world, Google. And Google, in their algorithm, promotes their own YouTube platform at the top of the page when people search things. They don't promote Facebook. They don't promote these smaller places. They don't promote Storyfire. When you type something into Google, if there's a related video, it's gonna be YouTube showing up at the top. So, yes, Google is a private company, and they're allowed to do what they want within reason, you know, as private companies are. But my concern with this whole thing is, without government intervention stepping in and saying, hey guys, since you are, you know, a monopoly on the platform and everybody goes to you, you are the central database hub location for all public to go and see, you kind of have the responsibility to allow an equal voice for everybody. And in a weird, twisted way, it's kind of like net neutrality all over again. Net neutrality was saying if you pay money, you can have faster access to specific websites, where Google is now saying if you make money, you can have access to uploading, whereas the internet should still be available for everybody to have a voice. So this update to their terms of service is not going to go over well with the general public. There's going to be tons and tons of videos coming up on YouTube talking about this, which ironically, if people feel like that's a waste of time or a waste of breath, it plays right into the role of what YouTube is saying is not commercially viable, which as a content creator, we really have no idea what that even means. So this is concerning. This is something that I don't want to be too completely over the top with, like the adpocalypse stuff and all that. But this, the terms of service update, just a few lines that YouTube threw in there, was kind of concerning enough for me to stop what I was doing and make this video and say, hey, we need to draw a little bit more attention about this, get people talking about it, and maybe, if YouTube isn't going to change, get some sort of government intervention to step forward and say, hey YouTube, you don't have the right to say who is commercially viable and who is not when you have a platform that supposedly allows for public conversations. There's a lot more to this than that, but that is the cliff notes of what's going on right now with YouTube and their terms of service change update. I am concerned. I'm kind of perplexed. Now, like I said at the beginning, I understand that YouTube is losing money, and this is probably something along the way of all the other things they've been doing in the past few years to try to curb that cash loss, to be able to put a blockade on the floodgates, if that's even possible. But by doing so, you wonder at what extent they're going to take this. And, oh, by the way, is this going to be the last straw? Or will they just continue down this path until YouTube is nothing like what it was originally meant for? Anyways, I'm going to leave the video right there because Lord knows I don't want to waste any more of your time or YouTube's precious upload times. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.